Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am back once again for another Slim Sports interview. And as always, I'm your host, Jay Slim. And joining me today is a 6 foot defensive back that just got done with his first year at the Division One level and is now looking to go high major right now in the transfer portal. Not for much longer, though. Going to be heading to one of those big time schools here soon. I'm talking about Jordan Scruggs. What's going on, Scooter?
What's going on?
Hey man, beyond happy to have you on. Got to see your highlights throughout this past season. I ended up watching the first South Alabama game of the season, and you caught my eye. I saw you make those highlights, and right after you got that big time interception against App State, I knew I had to have you on for an interview right there and then, man. So excited to have you on.
Definitely.
You've had quite the career so far, and we're gonna go over a little bit of what has happened for you just over the past year in a segment that I like to call rewind and recap. In this segment, I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the accolades and what has gone on throughout your career. First up, a year ago, you were at the junior college level, Hutchinson Blue Dragons, where you guys ended up making the NJCAA semifinals for the 2023 season. Out of JUCO, you had quite a few offers. I know Buffalo, Utah State were on that list. Obviously, you signed with South Alabama and right away made an impact. You actually were Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Week in week four. I believe that was after that App State game that I mentioned. And
Yeah.
you ended up leading them, the Jaguars, to a 6-6 overall record, making them bowl eligible once again. And absolutely phenomenal season. You put up some great numbers, and you have a lot of experience between the Division two level and then JUCO at Hutchinson. So, how would you say the experience from your years prior really helped you get into that Division one landscape to where you can make an immediate impact for South Alabama?
Um, you know, I just feel like the main difference is it's really just the linemen, like the trenches for real. Like they're bigger in this level, obviously, and then even when I go to the Power Five level, they're gonna be even bigger. But that's really the main difference is like the receivers that I was guarding at the D2 level, I feel like they prepped me and got me better for the guys that I'm playing today. I feel like the the skill set level is like the same with the skill guys. I feel like they're all fast. They all got a little shiftiness to them. So I feel like that really prepped me and everything because the guys that I was going against in practice at the D2 level, like I'm not really seeing much difference from this level. You know what I mean? And then
Mhm.
also like in JUCO, there was former 5 stars, 4 stars that I played against. Like even I played against Demas. He was 5 star that went to Texas A&M. So always the skill guys. It's always gonna be there at every level. So
Yeah, usually that's a common thing that I hear when it comes to guys transitioning to that Division one level is usually the size is the biggest difference for them. The skill, if you can be as big as you want. If you don't have the skill, you're not going to really be able to do much. Obviously, you have that skill. That's why you made an impact. And you were able to step in right away at that starting spot for the Jaguars on their defense and made some big plays, put up some numbers. We'll get into that here in a sec. But how would you say how are you able to step into that starting spot right away? Obviously, you're brand new to the program. Just because you have that experience doesn't mean you're guaranteed a starting spot. So how did you go in from day one and earn that spot on the starting defense?
I just made sure that I was in that playbook. I knew what I was doing when it was my chance to go out there and practice and compete and everything. Like that was the first thing. I got to know what I'm doing, so therefore I can, whenever it is my time to be out there, I can be comfortable and just be me instead of like playing like a robot and not trying to mess up. I know what I'm doing, so therefore I got a little bit more freedom. So that's how I got it. That's kind of how I got the job right there at the nickel spot.
Yeah, and you did a good job. Your team as a whole started out the season going a little bit back and forth, played some tough competition. But once you guys got into Sun Belt action, you were able to kind of gain some momentum. Ended up going 4-2 in your final 6 games. What would you say really turned on for you guys in that second half of the season compared to the first half when you were kind of exchanging wins and losses?
The coaches let us know and everything. Like we felt like that we still had the shot to make a run for the Sun Belt championship. We had a shot to the Sun Belt championship until there at the end, to the last game. It was literally until the last game against Texas State. If we had won that game, then we could have possibly been in the Sun Belt championship. um, if Louisiana had lost to ULM. But yeah, that was the main thing the whole time throughout the Sun Belt play. Like we had a shot and going, and that's what coaches kept in our ear that we were fighting. We were actually fighting for something. We had something to lose, so that was the main thing.
Yeah, that Sun Belt Conference very competitive. Marshall and Louisiana ended up going at it for that championship, but like you said, you guys were right there in it throughout most of the season, and you ended up playing a pivotal role on the defense. Had some big time plays at that defensive back spot, and I'm going to talk about some of those plays right here in a segment that I like to call "Make That Play." I got my top three plays that I looked at. I looked on YouTube, Twitter, wherever I could find some of your best tackles and highlights throughout this past season. But I do want to ask you, before I get into my top three, what would you say was your top play from this past season?
My top play was definitely that interception against App State. You know, that was a big momentum swing play. They were in the red zone and everything, getting ready to score. I believe they was going to make it a 7 point game. And I jumped in front of it. It was a long drive too. I jumped in front of it. I should have had a pick six, but I got hawked down. But it was a long drive, and I, got to work on my stamina.
Oh yeah.
But that was definitely my favorite play.
Yeah, that's the one that I have at number one too. Obviously, I mean, like you said, should have been a pick six. I thought you were going to make it. Credit to that App State player. He ran you down. I don't know how he
Yeah,
got that
definitely.
fast. But you ended up taking it for, I believe it was like 94 yards, somewhere around there. Uh,
Yeah.
and then your team ended up scoring, I believe, right after that. Number two, I actually have a tackle for loss against Arkansas State with 18 seconds left in the fourth quarter,
Oh
where
yeah.
you were able to, come up big right when your team needed you the most, put Arkansas State on their back, and just say, no, not today. And then against North Texas, early on in the first quarter, this was like first or second play of the game. They went to one of their receivers, and it looked like they had open space to go all the way for a touchdown. And you just came out of nowhere, boom, tackled him strong, held your ground, and you prevented him from getting away with a touchdown. So, those right there, those are some big plays that you made at that defensive back position. Those are my top three for make that play. And obviously, you had a whole lot of other ones. I noticed you had four or five tackles for loss as a defensive back where you were able to come up and just stop them cold. How would you describe your style of play at that defensive back spot? What made you so effective on the field for the Jaguars?
Um, you know, I like to feel like I like to think that I play like Buda Baker. So I like to be whenever I see that it's a run, I like to be aggressive, and just go trigger now instead of waiting. I want to. I feel like it's a race. I want to meet him in the backfield. So that's my main thing, especially in the nickel spot. Because I had to be in that box sometimes. So that was really my main thing. I want to meet the guy in the backfield. So
Yeah, and that's why you were able to get those stops. You had a couple of pass deflections. You had that interception, obviously, on the season. 69 total tackles, 33 solo. You had nine tackles against North Texas. That interception against App State, that obviously we talked about. You had 10 tackles in that game against Texas State, with five of them being solo. So you were able to come up and just boom, right there and then meet them where they got the ball and just stop them where they were. And
definitely.
we talked about the Sun Belt, how obviously a lot of talent in there, a lot of competition. You guys obviously fighting for that Sun Belt championship spot. You guys ended up ranking fifth out of 14 teams in the Sun Belt in points allowed. So your guys' defense was able to stay strong during Sun Belt play and really give your offense a chance to go out there and win. Offense scored, you guys kept the other team from scoring. Pretty simple solution right there. What made you guys' defense so strong 1 through 11 on that field?
Um, the main thing is our DC coach Wynnum. He harped on us about stopping the run. So I feel like once we like really tuned in on stopping the run, everything else became easier for us. Uh, and then we transitioned to the pass because we had a great D line, and I felt like they were getting after the quarterback, hurrying the quarterback up. So that was really the main effective thing. Just getting hurrying the quarterback and getting into his face, getting in the backfield. That really played a big part in our defense. And while I'm pretty sure we was top three in the run defense, or top two in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, you guys definitely were able. You stopped the run really well, and obviously the defensive backs that you guys had, yourself included. You had a safety. His name escapes me right now, but he had about 5 interceptions, I believe. Uh,
Jaden
yes,
Boyson.
yeah, great group of players all throughout. And you obviously having those prior years of experience, you've learned from a lot of different coaches on how to grow your game, and you've seen what it takes to not just play at obviously in the Sun Belt, Power Five level even, but also what it takes to get to the NFL. What would you say are the key intangibles for a defensive back in order to make it to the highest level?
I feel like the most key intangibles will be you got to be able to move. You got to be able to like shift your hips and transition the other way because we're going backwards. So you got to be able to move. You just got to have that mindset that like you can't be beat. It's definitely a mindset game at DB. You got to be able to cover and tackle, and especially playing in a nickel spot, you have to be able to tackle. It's not like on the outside corner, where you just guarding, and you're not really in the box and really making tackles. No, when you're playing nickel, you got to be able to come up, and that's safety in general. You got to be able to come up and fill the gaps and everything. So you literally have to have every position is intangible. Like you got to be able to when you're blitzing, you got to be able to move around the lineman. Whenever you fill in the gap, you got to be able to fill the gap like a linebacker. You got to be able to guard like a corner. So that the safety in that the nickel spot, I feel like it's very challenging. You got you know what I mean. You got to have all the intangibles. So
Yeah, I've never heard it described like that. That makes a lot more sense. You're in that nickel spot. You got a lot more open space that you're having to cover. Meanwhile, those other cornerbacks, they have the sideline helping them, stuff like that. So
definitely,
that's a really smart way of putting it. Obviously, having intelligence like that is why South Alabama was able to utilize you to the best of your abilities. And now you're going to be able to utilize your skill set, hopefully at the Power Five level here soon. You entered your name into the transfer portal before the bowl game. South Alabama made it to the Salute to Veterans Bowl game. Shout out to them. They won that against Western Michigan, did a great job. Uh,
definitely.
you yourself, I believe you've been going on visits. I know you've gotten some great offers. I saw something that Kentucky was showing a lot of interest in you. Talking real quick about that transfer portal process, what went into that decision, and how has that process been going? What are some of the schools offering you? What process are you at in it? How's that whole thing going?
What really played a part into that decision. Obviously, I just wanted to, I wanted to go up to a higher level. Every time that I've been to a new school, like I've been to a higher level. Like every time I've elevated. So, obviously I want to play at the Power Five level. Just be on a bigger platform so I can make plays in front of against the biggest teams. Um, in front of the scouts and everything, just to prove everyone wrong. That's been my whole thing, my whole journey, just proving everyone wrong. But in the transfer portal, I've definitely been getting a lot of interest. Um, a lot of schools been calling me and everything, planning to set up visits. But I'm only taking like 4 visits, like 3 or 4 visits. I'm not gonna be taking a lot of visits. So the schools that I actually visit, they're gonna be the ones that really interest me. You know what I mean? So because I'm trying to get out the portal. The portal can get deadly. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely crazy.
Yeah, it is an insane time now in college sports with the transfer portal. But no doubt in my mind, you're going to end up wherever you need to be in order to make it to the professional level. And, that's what g- great teams recognize great players. Obviously, you're one of them. I love having great players on my show, on this podcast. And that's what leads me into this next segment that I like to call Who's Up Next. That's where you get to recommend some great players for me to reach out to and have on the podcast this season and in future seasons. Where in this one, there's 2 rules. Whoever you recommend to me, you got to help me get them on, got to help me reach out. And number 2, you got to give me at least one name where they weren't a teammate of yours from this past season at South Alabama.
All right, I got you. So how many dudes you want me to give you?
You can give me as many names as you want. Just at least one of them can't be from South Alabama this past season.
All right, I'm gonna give you 3 names. Okay, so my boy Tristan Smith, he just became the first ever transfer from Clemson. I mean, that Dabo's ever recruited, and in transfer portal era, he's became the first. And like they made history yesterday. My boy just committed to Clemson. The receiver from SEMO, Tristan Smith. You can look him up. You know, he's a dog, 6'5" receiver. Uh, like I said, Clemson's first ever transfer portal recruit that committed non QB. My boy Ricky Fletcher, he didn't play this year because of an injury, a back injury. We could have really used him this year. Number one cornerback in South Alabama. Um, and then also you can um get my boy Amarion Fortenberry, true freshman, corner number 19, South Alabama. And
Nice.
then also Wesley Miller, number 6, safety, South Alabama.
Okay, those are some good names. I know. I remember hearing some of them throughout the season. Obviously, I tuned into your guys' games when I could watch you guys' game. You guys had one heck of a defense, like we talked about. That's those are some great names for the segment. Who's up next? Definitely going to look all of them up, look up their numbers. And now that we've talked about who's next, let's talk about what's next. Obviously, you're in the portal. You're looking to find this next destination. How are you staying in shape? How are you preparing for that higher level and improving your game to be able to make a name for yourself heading into the NFL draft one day?
You know, right now I'm just I haven't really been doing too much running. You know, I've been doing like working out and everything. But I'm really mainly trying to gain weight right now. So that's my biggest thing right now, just to gain weight and just prepping for that Power Five level. You know, obviously want to play in the season at 190, 185. You know, I played this season at South at 175, so I want to play at 190 at the Power Five level. So that's how I've been prepping, just working out and gaining weight. So
Yeah, we talked earlier about how, at every higher level, you see guys that are bigger and stronger. You already have that skill set. So if you put on that muscle, get bigger with them, that's going to help you blend right into whatever system you're going into. And hopefully one day soon, you see the jerseys on the wall. I got a lot of jerseys in my closet with my collection that I like to change out. We're going to be seeing a Jordan Scruggs jersey autographed right on up there here soon. Hopefully, NFL jersey.
definitely, yes, sir.
Absolutely. Hey, beyond blessed to have you on the podcast. You've had an incredible journey being able to grow your game throughout the past couple of years. D2, JUCO, now Division One. Hope definitely going Power Five here soon, and then one day the NFL. So keep on grinding, man. Keep doing your thing. I'll be staying in touch with you throughout it all. And God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.